Big business and the government are trying to sow the seeds of dissent among our ranks at a time when we need solidarity.
Fuego. Or should I say, Fredo! 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 Fredo!
It's like
That's pretty close.
it's super close. The sad thing is it's like good.
It's just a little corny.
It's
I
also
was
a
saying
little
to Frank
corny.
while we were watching it, I'm Jesse,
I'm Frank.
I'm Brandon.
and they hold hands.
Wait, we haven't introduced. It's okay. They'll figure it out.
They don't need to know.
Yeah.
If you've listened to this before, you get it. If you haven't, well, first
Welcome.
of all, welcome. Second of all,
Yeah.
Today on this episode of The Chronic Canon, where we smoke movies and we talk weed,
We're live in our ears, but not in yours, right?
Yes. And if you don't like Michael Mann's hit movie Heat, you're going to have to get the fuck out of here.
you're gonna have to leave.
go,
If
baby.
you haven't seen it, that's fine.
That's
fine.
passable. We'll allow that.
I guess.
But today, on
Yeah.
this episode of The Chronic Canon, we're rounding out a very, very important trilogy of films.
Yeah.
Films that were detrimental to the history of cinema. Films that are
Detrimental?
still called upon for influence and for comfort
No,
for
not-
some people even, you know?
Essential.
And, you know, nobody asked for this movie. Nobody necessarily even wanted it.
Quite
The
literally
first two-
nobody.
The first two did the job just adequately enough, you know, like that was enough. That was enough for everyone to be satisfied with this series. But
Mhm.
damn it, if he didn't take it one step over the cliff and he did the job justice. That's
Yeah.
right, folks. Today we're talking Robert Rodriguez and we are talking Spy
Once
Kids
upon a time in
3D
Mexico.
game
You're
over.
so close. You should have said Justice League. You literally should have said.
No, we don't
He
pander.
does it justice. Today we're talking about Snyder Cut.
No. I'm not trying to go all the way there.
Literally
no.
the last person on the planet that I would ever think to talk to me about superhero movies has had me coming home every day after work just being like, hey man, I saw something else about the Snyder Cut. When are we doing this?
Look, man, I'm fascinated. I'm just like, what the fuck is this? It's the enigma of the superhero movies. It's like, how did this happen? It was pure will on the audience's part, actually.
All right, you guys. I'm gonna ask a question.
Do
I'm gonna ask two questions now. Now you make me want to ask two questions, and I'm not staying up to date on the discourse, and I'm a little afraid to ask.
Wait, two
But-
questions?
Huh?
Two questions.
Two questions.
Okay.
One, is all the hate still at Joss Whedon and not the studio? Because that's been confusing me. I see people going out of their way to take a shit on Joss Whedon and be like, how dare you, you fucking prick. Like, oh, all the people that you cut out of this movie and like you butchered this and literally fuck you. And I was like, well, I mean, like, yeah, I guess, but also a studio is making them cut the movie down and stuff. It's like, is
As far
nobody
as
mad
I
at the studio?
understand, they did a lot of reshoots with Joss Whedon. And there are
Thank
scenes
you.
like in the Joss Whedon cut that
Thank
are like
you.
rewritten to be more quippy and jokey and lighter to kind of match
That's the answer
Marvel
I
tone.
wanted.
But the
So he
studio
does
definitely
do
had a
some
big part in it too.
Well,
I'm sure.
yeah,
I don't know that
because-
much about it.
I
Fuck
don't either.
both of them.
That's
How
why I
about
want
that?
Yeah, that's more what I wanted to get to. I've just only been seeing the hate toward Joss Whedon, and I guess it's like, oh, we released the Snyder Cut, so we're back in your graces, nerds. And it's like, come on,
Yeah,
be nice. And then my second question:
Well,
two,
let
two
Howie say something.
Yes.
There he is.
Thanks,
Almost.
Howie.
Happy 420.
Happy 420. Is there anything to smoke?
Yes. Right
Okay,
here.
good.
Second question.
Too much power to the people. Listen, I love it.
Sonic.
Sonic, though. Come on. We had history in our hands, and you all made the wrong choice, I promise.
But we got the Jim Carrey.
The who?
What?
Because I realized my point didn't make sense as I said it. I was like, right, we would have had the Jim Carrey. We would've
I'm
had the
just
Jim Carrey
saying.
regardless. Give us the fucked up Sonic.
But what? No, it's just the movie ended up being fine. But like, imagine if it stayed the way it was. We would have had a Cats on our hands, a movie I'm going to keep revisiting throughout my life because I'm just so confused. And instead, you just have a movie I forgot I even saw in the theater. You know what I mean?
You can't say that because you have Jim Carrey up for your supporting actors list. You
I
fucker.
haven't seen that many movies in 2020. So, and he is, but you know,
I understand your point though.
is it too much power to the people? No offense, people.
Well,
I mean, I'm just like,
hear me out,
I'm
though.
just worried. Like, what are you gonna ask for next?
On one hand,
Irishman should be 90 minutes. Netflix, like, no,
no,
leave it alone.
don't do that, please.
No, I saw a tweet that was like, reject modernity, embrace tradition, and the first one was the Justice League Snyder cut, like split into parts so you could watch it like a series, and then the tradition was the Irishman split up. Guy.
Oh, I saw that actually.
So stupid. It was like 4
I did
parts.
see that.
Yeah,
Really dumb.
I don't.
They do keep like all the Detroit stuff in one part.
You know what? Fuck what I'm saying. Let the people do what they want. This is
All
the
I'm
crime.
saying is that in one part,
And I'm Jesse.
I'm Frank.
I'm Brandon.
And they hold hands.
Held
And
hands.
that whole thing.
What I'm saying is that on one hand, you know, the fans maybe lost an opportunity to give us a shit movie, but also you're not a 10-year-old boy, and that's definitely who the movie was for. And I'm sure that they're gonna like it a lot more now that it looks like a normal Sonic. And on the other hand, even if we're not talking about the loss of some magical, like once in a lifetime, how could you guys ever make this movie happen? You have the good version where they release the Snyder cut of a movie, and it's like,
True.
nice. People are liking this way more than the original, and it's possibly doing some good for that universe. Like that.
I do hope it ripples out of
But
studios.
it's scary too, because people don't usually want what's good. So
Well, they just
Yeah.
don't want artist-driven movies for the most
Well,
part. At least
that's the weird thing. That's what I hope comes out of it. Studios see that there are people who will be like, no, give us what the people who made it wanted. That's what we actually want to see. So I hope there's more of that.
I guess the
Wait.
Godfather Coda,
Right.
The Death of Michael Corleone,
Way
is
better
a version
title.
of that,
Yeah,
in
in
a
a
way.
weird way.
because Coppola finally got to chop up his already truncated version of
Mhm.
his, epilogue to his classic series, The Godfather.
He said from day one, I kept seeing, like, the one fact you can see plastered everywhere is just like the first two were a completed story. This was
Yeah.
never supposed to be like part 3. It's like this is just like a little tack on,
Right.
just a bow, so we'd never have to go back.
right.
now,
Are they making Godfather 4? Is that real?
There are
What?
talks about it, but I don't know if anything is officially
I'm gonna
in
hit
the
a
works.
I'm gonna hit a quick goog.
But no Coppola involved, if that's the case.
now, earlier off mic, I mentioned, because you just said, you know, this third one was hey, let's come back and cap this off. In my head, that is how a lot, at least more recently, it feels like a lot of like the trilogies and the chronicles and the shit that's come out has been like shit that was made like fucking like 20 or 15 years ago, and they're like, fuck it, let's pick up the old reins and get back on this horse again. But that being said, you guys pointed out a lot of threequels, as I like to call them, a lot of threequels that aren't like that. So I want to know, what are
Wait.
your guys' favorite threequels?
Before we say those, do you have an example of what you were just describing? Like the hitting it back years later?
Like, I know that they've been making Terminator movies, but the last Terminator, like, what was it, Genesis?
No,
not
Dark
Genesis.
Fate.
Dark Fate. Like, that one was like, hey, let's get the original guys back in here, let's pick up the bootstraps, and let's
That's right.
go again. Toy Story 4, like, it's been a minute since we had Toy Story 3, and they're like, fuck it, let's do it again.
Is
We
that
can do
a
it.
threequel?
It's not
No.
a threequel, it's a fourquel.
But I guess I see what you're saying.
And I was gonna say Incredibles 2, but that's not a threequel. But that's just examples of people coming back to movies and being like, fuck it, let's do it again.
Right. And this technically fits into that.
But this question is threequels in general.
Yeah. I mean, this is up there. This is for sure up there, actually.
Oh, like,
Yeah,
actually,
I mean, definitely.
And I guess
I don't think there's that many options because I really don't think there's that many truly great
Good
prequels.
Can we say just off the bat, Jesse and Brandon have only seen the Coda cut and never seen the theatrical?
Yeah, that is
No,
correct.
I'm
We
not.
are talking the Coda cut
Yeah.
on this podcast.
And I don't remember the theatrical remotely
The golden
anymore.
cut, as we call it.
Yeah, it's great. So we were like, well, why watch the one everybody didn't like? We'll just stick with this one that we like a lot.
Well, I don't know. I imagine that Brandon, and I mean, maybe one day I might too, but you might want to watch the theatrical cut that much sooner, given how much you seem to love this movie.
I do. And I'd like to see the difference, yes.
Yeah, eventually, I guess.
Not right off the bat, though.
Right, more time
Ending
away.
is trash.
Yeah, I remember defending it, and it's the Coda is so.
Didn't we
much
watch
better.
it? Like,
Yeah, we
just
did.
looked at it on YouTube, and it fucking sucked.
I was just
Yeah.
saying to Brandon earlier that the last 30 minutes or so of Coda are like
Incredible.
Some of
Yeah.
the best shit in a Godfather movie ever.
Yeah, it's like as a full sequence might be the best in the whole series because I feel like
The rooftop sequence with De Niro. Come on.
right, but that's almost like a scene to me.
It's a set piece.
That's a set piece. Never mind, that is the best.
It's Italian
It's so-
assassin.
it's so
Italian
good.
assassin.
Okay.
He's climbing the rooftop.
He's an Italian assassin.
Yeah, banger.
But three
Certified
I know there's
banger.
not a lot, but give me some.
Before Midnight for sure is the other like gold standard in my mind. Actually, yeah.
I've never seen Before Midnight, but I am a big fan of Ethan Hawke, and my birthday is the same as Julie Delpy's.
So
I do love
That's not
Halloween
nothing.
3, Season of the Witch.
nice.
And The Exorcist 3 is amazing.
I
That's
just
actually one
re-put
of my
that.
all-time favorite movies.
Are you
Okay.
serious?
Oh my God.
Nice.
It's better than the first one.
Nice.
Oh.
It's amazing.
I'm excited to watch it. I just re-put it on my list. I was like, right. I want to see this.
George C. Scott is so good. We're fine. It's fucking great.
Return of the Jedi is pretty fucking dope.
I was about to say Phantom Menace. Not Phantom Menace. I'm so sorry.
Phantom Menace.
Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge
Yeah.
of the Sith is a
It's
pretty
dope.
damn good one.
It's good.
It's dope.
It's not as good as any of the other ones. we
No,
just mentioned, though.
getting the 3. No, not as good as no. Definitely bottom tier.
Yeah,
but like,
but still
I'm
good.
thinking about in the world of Star Wars.
Return
So
of the
good.
Jedi is good.
How do you feel about
Mhm.
Mission Impossible 3?
I like. Well, okay.
Isn't
I've
that
seen
supposed
it
to be
once.
the best one?
No, it's a pretty divided
Seymour
one.
I think
Hoffman?
everybody seems to think it's either Ghost Protocol or Fallout now.
Right. But like they're
They're starting
ardent
to sound like
haters.
James Bond movies.
It's always supposed to have been. That
Or
wasn't
American
English.
James Bond.
No,
It was always supposed to be, Brandon. Come on.
It makes sense to me in my ears. It was always
not in
supposed to
yours.
have been.
Yeah, sorry. So
A little bit of Canon in joke. How'd you like that?
I think Tom Cruise is like right. I'm not allowed to be. just you sounded like Pacino.
Please tell me that's what you were doing.
We got it. Hey. Son of a Woman's got to be a special episode.
Oh,
we do.
definitely.
Oh wait, it's past. I'm a fucking idiot. I was like for Valentine's Day.
Frank and Smart.
Oh,
Yeah, I fucking forgot. Holy shit.
Might
That
even
was
be
real.
April by the time people are listening to this.
Shouldn't be.
Probably years from now. Is it future or is it past?
Yeah. So
Nope, you're only allowed to listen in March or maybe April. This is
If
a
you're not,
spring
turn off.
episode.
turn off.
Now!
Jerks. All right. Threes. Any other ones?
Prisoners of Azkaban.
That is
Yeah.
the best of that series, no question.
Well, okay,
My
but
favorite Harry Potter movie.
is it weird to count ones that continue into a longer series and not just like third and final?
No.
Okay.
It's not weird.
Back to the Future 3. Better than 2. I
Is
don't
there-
even care.
How many
about
Back to the
Return of the
Futures are
King?
there?
3.
Okay, I thought you were making it sound like there were 4.
Nope. Return of the King, I like more than Two Towers, but not as much as
Hey,
Fellowship.
if Marty McFly was in this one, he would not make it through. Don't fuck your cousin. I don't know, man. She's trying pretty hard.
What about the 80s classic Dream Warriors?
Oh, dude. Pretty good. Pretty good. I like
It is a
Dream
pretty good
Warriors.
one. It's a good movie.
I don't remember the last time I literally watched a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. This should pick those up.
Yeah.
Maybe? No?
They're fun.
The second
The first one has Johnny Depp.
I want to get to
Does
Freddy
have Johnny
versus
Depp.
Jason soon.
Yeah.
Ugh,
That's a fun one.
please.
It's
Let's do
hilarious.
Freddy
This is
versus
like a
Jason
childhood
and Batman v
classic.
Superman together.
That's
Now
fun.
that if we made a day of it,
Is there
I'd
a
do
third?
that for
Yeah,
you.
I would too.
Godzilla
And if
King Kong?
Matheson was there.
Wait, no, Godzilla. If Godzilla and King Kong isn't able to run out yet, then we'll do King of Monsters.
No, like an old one.
I have the
Old
first
Godzilla,
one.
Man.
We don't need
Verse
to keep talking
something.
about this.
I'm saying let's do 3 verses.
Man.
What do you want from me?
What about Alien vs. Predator Requiem?
That's a 2.
Requiem.
But it's still a versus.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen Alien versus Predator, surprisingly.
You
Yeah,
like
but now
Alien
I've seen
3, the
Alien.
director's cut.
I just haven't seen
Yeah.
Predator.
But
Have I
not that
seen
cool.
Alien too?
Hold on.
No, I haven't.
Too much going on.
It was to myself. I should have
Die
said it.
Hard with a Vengeance.
You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
baby. I
Right,
can't
right
believe I
one.
didn't even think of it.
Great one.
Okay.
I don't know about the Matrix Revolutions, but I'm sure people.
No,
will
that
defend
one's
it.
not good though. I'll watch it again, but there's no way it's better than the first 2.
I'm
'cause
actually
both of them are
positive I
great.
might have only seen
Fancy.
the second and third Matrix movies. Because all I remember is
That's
Jada Pinkett Smith.
Fine.
Does Twin Peaks: The Return count?
I don't know. It fits every other category. Might as well be a threequel too.
I mean, it is.
That was low key shade.
Yeah.
Not.
You got the OG series, Fire Walk with Me, The Return.
That's a
and a
threequel.
return. They're coming back to do it.
Yeah,
They are pulling
25
up the
years,
old bootstraps.
motherfucker. Later, motherfucker.
Is it a movie?
It really is everything. If I meet David Lynch, he's gonna be like, "Why are you so mad at me?" I'm gonna be like, "Ugh, you
No,
fucker."
David Lynch is just going to look at you, not even exchange a word with you, and just put his hand up and go, "I'm sorry."
Then that's gonna. You don't know how bad that's gonna piss me off.
You motherfucker.
I'm gonna turn around immediately and get back in my car. What are you doing? You're meeting with David. I don't know how I got here in the first
I'll
place.
turn around, look at him, and be like, "No, it's dark."
I see. You're one of the perverts.
So when are you going to admit it, buddy?
Admit what?
That Blue Velvet's your favorite movie.
This thing is. It's fine. You guys ruined it so fast.
No.
Because I was just
Denial.
having a good old time.
Hashtag get mommy to admit it.
My mommy.
Yeah.
Look and listen. You're already there.
You already knew.
My mommy.
I'm just saying,
I'm a detective.
you can only love something. You can only hate something that you love. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have a friend
we
who
the
watched
same
2001: A Space Odyssey and talked about how much he hated it for 4 hours after watching it the first time, and then realized after talking for 4 hours, he was like, "I think I might love that movie."
I get, anything that can make you like engaged that much. It's like
I know,
you literally can't hate
you
it.
guys are trying to make me say it's my favorite movie of all time when I've openly admitted that I love it, and I was having a good
I'm
time
just saying-
saying now it's dark, and you guys made me not say it anymore.
You
guys
just
didn't
did.
make me.
You just did.
But
Anyway, get
still.
mommy to admit it. Hashtag at Chronic Canon. That's our Twitter. And email us at the Chronic Canon. The Chronic Canon at gmail.com to give us the reasons Blue Velvet's your favorite movie.
Mommy.
Mommy. Army of Moms.
Let us know if you're a detective or a pervert.
I mean, that's a given.
We got 2 detectives and 1 pervert on the pod.
Oh, that's a lie. 3 pervertos. No such thing as a detective. That's my new
Oh.
theory. Have I told you guys
David
that?
Fincher.
Deja vu.
I said, okay, Deja.
Well, deja Fincher.
Deja Fincher.
Deja vu, baby. Perverted, not detective.
Not a
So
threequel.
not a detective at all.
So, final word on threequels.
Sometimes they can be good.
Sometimes
Actually,
they're okay.
we named a
sometimes.
lot of great ones.
Yeah.
And there's some that people like that I haven't seen.
And
Like
some that we
Thor
mentioned that
Ragnarok.
people hate.
Thor 3. No, that's the same thing. Iron Man 3. People like that. Shane Black, right?
Gonna watch the Marvel movies?
No.
We are one day.
No.
Just like I watched Twin Peaks one
No, you
day.
won't.
No, you won't.
We're done.
Until you
won't.
admit Blue Velvet's your favorite, you ain't gonna watch it. And until you watch Blue Velvet again and realize
We won't allow it. We won't allow it.
You hear that, folks? They're gatekeeping Twin Peaks now.
Well, I'm half.
Trust me, it'll help.
You can't acknowledge
No,
that
they're
you're doing it.
they're tapping into my spiteful powers. They're trying to use reverse psychology to make me watch it to spite them, which I often have thought about doing. So it's kind of funny. It's like, I'm gonna watch it right now when no one knows.
Good. That'd be awesome.
Exactly. Then
Even if you were like, I hate it, I'd be like, I know. Why
One
are
day
you
it comes up to
doing
me,
this?
The coconut.
I just like, you're not gonna like any of it. Is this reverse psychology or earnest commentary? You'll never fucking know.
I don't know.
It's not what I wanted.
It's not what I wanted.
Is that the best line? Oh, yeah, let's get back to it. The best line in this movie?
Definitely.
One of them.
What's better?
He's your first cousin. Then I'll love him first.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, how do we talk about this fucking movie? I don't even know how to go about it.
I mean, I don't know. Like,
I don't know. At that point, I was like, send it. She's all in. She knows what she's doing.
Let's think about
that's autonomy. Kay doesn't have that.
How this came to be.
Okay.
How did The Godfather Part 3, initially, before we ever get to see years and years later, The Godfather Coda, The Death of Michael Corleone, how does The Godfather 3 even become a movie in the first place, right?
I'm pretty sure they're just like, we're making this with or without you, so you might as well do it. To Coppola. Does that sound right?
I think so.
I feel like they pressured him into it. Like, if you can do what you want, if you want, but we're making it no matter what.
Right.
So he was like, I guess. But it was
just like you said, I know that his thing was he never thought there was a necessity for a third one, and that he treated this just being like the epilogue of a story. So it doesn't make sense to me that it is as long as it is in a way, and as drawn out as it is. Because I think that's one of my only big draws from the movie is a lot of it does kind of feel redundant after a certain point, but that's also the point because that's what life is when you're old, redundant.
Right. I think it's more into the like cyclical nature of literally everything, which Michael is trying to address to Vincent kind of throughout the movie, where he's trying to go legitimate to break the cycle. Because
just like his father.
But it's like you're using the crooked ways to get there, so you're still going to be trapped in it forever. And it's like this passing of the shit just down, so you can never actually escape it. It's just carrying it forward.
Right.
So like it makes sense why you're repeating stuff, but just like as far as literally watching a movie, that gets old for sure.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, right, this is all like I get like, right, we're doing it again. Like quite literally, we're doing it again.
But it didn't really feel like an exact like cookie cutter like replica of either of the Godfather movies. Like, yeah, there are like themes, but it's like I don't know. I feel like I give that a pass because it's the same series. Like, yeah, you're gonna have to be playing on themes that you've played without. But this feels like such a more like vulnerable. And I don't want to use the word pathetic, but just like it feels like such a weaker movie. Not like movie, but like the weaker world that we're in. Like everything is still super important and carry all this weight, but like it doesn't really feel that way. It's kind of like really like lofty and wavy, like we run out of our juice, like we're at the end of our rope. It doesn't really feel like it's got the same spunk or gumption as Godfather 2, and it doesn't really have like the gall and the allure of Godfather 1. It's kind of just like, ugh, is this what this really is? Like, okay, pow, Zaza, I don't know.
I had said to Frank that it felt more theatrical than any of the other Godfather movies, like almost as if we were watching a play.
I feel like he's trying to grab the operatic feeling, like
hence the finale,
right?
Which, if we didn't say it already, spoilers on this podcast for not just the Godfather 3 and the other Godfather films, but maybe all movies.
Anything is fair game, but we try not to.
We'll talk about it a little bit before we jump into the spoiler, but it's not much farther after we say the name of the movie.
I'm glad you brought up the ending again, though. I mean, the opera sequence, because the only way for that to be as like satisfying and big as it is you need like all the setup of the whole movie, or else like it won't have that punch, right? And it's like I don't know what you could get rid of to like shorten it. It feels like it is intentionally designed. It's not like superfluously hanging out for no reason, but then it's like you probably could have did things better to make it move
the opera scene at the end.
No. I'm saying the movie as a whole. The opera is like perfect, and I'm just saying like the whole movie feels like it's like, right, what do we have to do to get here? It's like I feel like that's what he went in with. Like his daughter needs to die through his fuck up at the end, and like, why not in an opera?
I
Like,
think-
let's mirror it.
I think Coppola went in with all the right ideas. Like as
Yeah.
far as if you were going to do a Godfather Part 3,
Yes.
this is the only way to do it, really.
Yeah.
Like,
the passing
there
of
would
the
have been
torch.
no better way to do it in a sense. But I think that it's a matter of execution when it comes to the problems with Godfather 3 in my eyes, where it's like lack of resources, poor timing, just not the right spirit. One thing I said to Brandon
Yeah.
earlier was like, it just doesn't feel like everybody's heart is in it the same way it is in the first two.
That's such a great call.
And I think that's probably evident too by like Pacino saying that he didn't agree with where they took the character of Michael Corleone in this iteration of The Godfather.
Wait, he said that to what ended up happening, not during the script process?
Yeah, he was just
Dang.
like, I didn't think that well, I think it was during the script process too. Like after he read it, he just didn't agree. He's like, I mean, I'll do it, but I don't agree with where, because he didn't think that Michael could be a moral man after the events of Godfather 2.
Got it.
It's like no one could be that cold.
Which I think it's interesting. I think that comes across in his performance, like his belief in that. Because like it feels like the movie's trying to redeem him, but like Michael somewhere deep down knows like it's all
He doesn't
fucked.
forgive himself.
Right. Which is what makes the end
Fredo!
powerful.
Yeah.
One of my favorite scenes is with John Paul before he becomes the Pope, where he's like,
Is that John Paul? Okay. Apologies. Keep going.
before he becomes the Pope, and Michael, he confesses, and I kind of put myself in his shoes where it's like, this is awkward. Like, I thought they were the way that the guy was saying when he convinced him to confess was like, yeah, just step over here, sometimes the need to confess is overwhelming, and like some of the priests will come over here and will confess to me. And I was like, oh, cool, you got a little set up, a little barrier so that they don't have to look at you. But nope, he just like turns his head to the side and doesn't look at Michael while he's got to like sit there and shuffle his feet and go like, I betrayed my wife. I betrayed myself. And he's got to keep going on and on and on about the terrible things that he's done. And he starts to, cry because he feels so bad.
Mhm.
And one of the things I love the most about this movie is how pathetic Michael Corleone is, after seeing him be this feeble man turned into the Godfather, to the Godfather raging mad with his power, who can't really see straight.
Always felt kind of pathetic throughout all of it to me.
But he never, I don't know. It seems like
Especially
there's
in the
this-
shadow of Fido.
Two, yeah. He doesn't feel
Yeah, he does,
no,
man.
he does. I'm trying to think of how to word it.
It doesn't feel
Okay.
like he's supposed to be in that position at all. It's like the most out of place thing. And I think that's what makes Pacino so good. And that's why he has to like almost compensate for his lack of innate respect by like being ultra evil.
Mhm.
It's like, I just have to be as cold as humanly possible so nobody will fuck with me.
And then that's why the third one, it must be appealing to some degree, because it's finally him acknowledging, I'm this pathetic nothing,
Yeah.
like regretful piece of shit human.
That's very evident in his physical performance in the movie,
Which
because he
is
literally looks like
awesome.
he's 70 years old. He's acting almost like his Jimmy Hoffa performance in The Irishman,
And this is 5 years before Heat,
where he's spunky
yeah,
Yeah.
running
Running.
down the streets.
and being like, "Ah,
I
chewing
should
his
have
gum."
when I get back to
go.
Yeah,
she'll be rising.
he's going crazy.
Give me all you got.
So, and like the when he says hi to Kay for the first time, like, "Hello, Kay," and like he's just humped over.
Looks like he
with
can
his
barely
plate.
hold his head up.
I was just like, I should start saying hello to people in that way. Like when I'm at parties, like,
Hello.
And I'm just slumped over with my plate of appetizers.
Jesse, I don't know how to tell you this. That's what you do.
Oh, good. It's good.
Oh.
Good to see you.
Hello. Good to see you.
Just kidding.
No, to me, I feel like thinking he's pathetic is one thing versus actually seeing him be pathetic is another. Like he's sitting there, he's bawling in front of this priest man, and he's talking about all of his sins and his falls. And this priest, the one that you go to for clarity and guidance or whatever, looks at him and he says, like, your sins are terrible and your guilt is just. Like, and I won't tell you that you are able to be forgiven because I know that you will never forgive yourself. Like, he lays it out right there. Like Al Pacino doesn't agree with where Michael Corleone ends up because Michael Corleone doesn't agree where Michael Corleone gives up. Like, hey, I killed my fucking brother. I'm literally not allowed to feel bad about it. And then, like, the moments that we see are him allowing himself to, when he is the closest to being like out of himself as he can be, when he's with that priest, when the priest is forcing him to open up, and when he's having a literal fucking heart attack, stroke, whatever, where he doesn't have grasp on reality, and it is just like his raw emotion. First it's anger, where he's fucking like he's hilariously grumbling, and it's like all about like mafia bosses and Zoe Zaza, and he's just like
Zoe Zaza.
It's Joey.
Did I say Zoe?
Yeah.
It should have been Zoe.
Zoe Zaza. The way he says it every time. Mr. Joey Zaza.
Now, I just want to say,
I literally cracked up every time.
when it jump cuts to him screaming, Fredo! Like in the middle of his freak out, the fact that there's a jump cut to me screams there's more footage. Like that freak out goes on longer. There's stuff that Coppola's not putting in. And I think about this having worked with like method actors before, like how they'll just throw in like a line or something out of nowhere. And I'm like behind the camera, like, what the fuck did they just do? Like, that was something. I don't know that was good, but it was something. I feel like that was definitely a Pacino in the moment, just like, I'm thinking about Fredo. I scream his name.
But you would be, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I guess I just like it's one of those things that breaks the artifice of the movie to me, especially given my love for Pacino as a personality. You know, the screaming on top of it being,
your fault. It's your fault for watching too many Dunkachinos, because I went from laughing. I went from laughing to feeling really, really sad very quickly.
Yes, it's very sad.
And when I think about it, it does make sense what you said. Like, I imagine that screaming was a whole sequence that probably ended with him screaming Fredo.
That was in the middle of it, dude. Knowing Pacino, he probably went off.
That was the middle of it, man. So I
am getting my Oscar. I am getting my Oscar for Michael Corleone
now.
I mean, he's pretty fucking good.
I think of all the movies, this is his most, not most restrained. It might even be the best of the three, but I don't know. The first one is so good.
It's between this one and the first one for me for best performances.
All three are so good, but I think Frank and I were discussing this during the movie, that all three are very distinctly different in their own ways.
They feel like three totally different performances that all completely like fit at one
adhere
whole.
to one character.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's really good. Actually incredible, because I don't know how to rank them. My instinct keeps saying to put two at the bottom though for performance.
That's what
I think it's just because he's overshadowed so much by the better performers in that movie, like John Cazale, Robert De Niro. Even Talia Shire, just in the few scenes that she has Lee Strasberg. He's surrounded by fucking greatness. Whereas in this movie, it's Andy Garcia and Diane Keaton.
Let's start talking. Let's start talking.
That was really mean.
Well, it's
look. The first time we watched The Godfather Coda, The Death of Michael Corleone.
Oh yeah, we watched
knew
it twice.
Going in that the infamous supporting performance by Coppola's daughter Sophia was generally regarded as terrible.
Like movie
like one of
terrible.
The worst performances in movie history that made people hate the movie simply by proxy of her being in it. But I remember thinking, watching this cut, I was like, she's not nearly that bad.
No.
And you know what? Having seen it twice now, she is not nearly that bad. However,
she's also not very good.
Exactly. Frank and I thought originally that it was like every other scene.
Yes. On the first
she was
watch.
like good, bad,
right,
good, bad.
Quite literally, like whole scene. It was just like you had it that day, and then the next scene be like, not that day, got it. But then that second watch, it was closer to line by line,
literally line by line. It was like, oh, that was pretty good.
Yeah,
ooh, rough. That was pretty good. And I was just like, I can imagine being in the editing room with all the takes, just like, fuck, what do I do?
Yeah. But she's like not that bad.
Hear me out.
No, she could be a lot worse.
Because if she was, then the ending wouldn't hit even remotely. Like, I feel like when it really, really matters, she gets it. And it's all the other shit where it's like, well, Michael's the important one in this scene, or Andy Garcia is the important one in this scene, and she's not good. And it's like, I don't actually care.
I do think that the ending, though, that scene works most, like, especially because of the filmmaking and Pacino's performance and Diane Keaton's fucking raging performance in that moment, too. Because Andy Garcia could have ruined that whole thing.
Oh, it is actually hilarious.
Mary!
Laugh at
No!
Mary, no! And it's like I go from laughing at that because he looks like a dog barking.
And he's just like running up the stairs.
No,
for no
he's
reason.
standing still.
Standing completely still.
Yeah, he makes like no expression.
That is a
almost.
choice for them to keep that in there.
Mary, no!
Because everyone's got to have their time.
Yeah.
Diane Keaton is losing her mind.
But Pacino.
And then
Oh
Pacino,
my
the
God.
silent
Okay.
scream with the
Silent
score.
scream.
Oh, the score is so good in that moment.
It's like the silent screams like, oh, I'm crying. I didn't know a human face could do that.
Yeah.
And like the drool's like coming out of his mouth and his eyes look insane. And it's like,
He's
holy
dying.
fuck, this is
He's
crazy. And then the sound comes on and it's as crazy as his face. And I was just like, holy fuck. Yeah, that alone is why this is his best performance for sure.
Great.
Of the three.
And then in this particular version, which in the original version, it takes Godfather 2 and earlier scenes from Godfather 3 and throws them in flashback. But we just get his moment of him dancing with Mary at the end.
Weepy
And then
baby
we
boy.
fade into his older senior years as Michael Corleone, where he
you
just
might as well
collapses
be
in a
dead.
chair.
No,
Yeah.
He doesn't die
he
in
doesn't
Coda.
collapse.
Yes,
in
he does
Coda.
too, die in
No,
Coda.
he just puts
No, he
on the
doesn't.
shades.
Really?
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
I just
He
watched it
literally
last
doesn't die in Coda.
Crazy.
Because he
Then
dies when she does.
Uh-huh. That's why I was like,
Nice.
yeah, this is what it should be called.
Yeah.
It punctuates the moment.
But what I want to say about Miss Sofia Coppola is that she never had a chance. There's
Yeah.
no way. That's not a good character. Like that is.
Yeah.
I do not like the character of Mary like at all. I figured that out when I was watching it last night. I was like, oh, it's not that you're bad. I was like, there's literally like the best actress in the world. I would literally hate this role, and I would therefore not like the way that you're doing it because there's no way to. I'm sorry. And I hate to say this, but there's no good way to do a cousin fucker. Like it sucks. I hated it.
I also,
But that didn't make me not care about her. I'm not a piece of shit.
I also think it's essential and such a good choice.
Oh, it's amazing.
The
dude.
perversion of power literalized in incest. It is.
right.
He is so obsessed with keeping my family in control, safe, in power. That's like the royal family shit, man. It's like this is what
Solo
happens when you get to those high places. It's like we don't want anybody else having it. It
But
turns
Michael's not
into.
for it.
I know, but I'm just saying it's the natural perversion of power is the idea, the grand
It's
concept.
like my
So how do
cousin's
you-
the biggest, toughest, strongest guy.
He becomes the
He's
Godfather.
Don.
Yeah.
Like, this has to be my man. And they're gonna do it like in secret.
Uh-huh.
They come
That's what I
very
mean.
close.
I'm just like, that's a crazy choice to just casually have as
Yes.
a plot point
Yes,
in
it
the
is.
third Godfather movie. Like fucking, they were going for it,
And
man.
then cast her
Opera.
daughter.
Send it.
Well,
Send
that
it.
part is where it gets a little weird. Maybe just a little bit. I don't know. Did we
What
talk
part?
about this? Am I behind and not evolved, or am I right? Just like that's weird, right? Like
What,
I'm like,
incest?
no. Filming like my family member doing these things, like my daughter, or like Spike Lee. Love him and love the movie, but in Jungle Fever, there's a sex scene with Denzel and his sister, and she's like naked, and I'm just like, that's weird, right? Or am I not
Are
evolved?
we weird?
Right,
I was gonna
because
say,
I'm not
is
comfortable.
he getting off on it? Because
That's not what I'm saying. I hope not.
That's the only thing that makes it weird then. Because anybody else is like, if you're
I
an
just
actor,
don't want to watch like my friend Denzel pretend fuck my sister. I don't care
that's
how
you.
close
That's
we all
you.
are.
That's you.
That's what I'm saying. So am I not evolved?
Unless, okay, hear me out.
not
You think that your sister is the best choice for a role. You think
Okay.
that your friend Denzel is the best choice for the role. You think that a sex
guess
scene is the best. You
watch
think that a sex
Denzel.
scene is the best scene. Is
It's
the best choice for this movie. So you have 3 good choices that you have to make.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm on the right side of history of this one. I'm gonna not do that. I'm gonna just there
choose
are
not to.
billions of people to choose from. I don't
know.
need to choose my
Listen,
sister.
I'm with you. I think it's weird, but I guess I never tell I guess I never say that to anybody.
Well,
To be like, hey man, you're weird for that.
no, that's okay. That's it. I'm not saying. Well, yeah, no, I'm not. Like that's fine. Clearly, you're comfortable, like you said. And I'm just
But it is. You can find
I
it
think
weird.
it's fucking
It is weird.
I think it's fucking weird.
Because like, yeah, why? That seems like a choice.
So like, isn't it even weirder? Your daughter? No, make out, honey. Here we are, close up, Dad. Like, I would just be like, what's going on? If I was working on that set, I'd be like, excuse me.
I don't know, man. Some parents are just like open. You've seen Mean Girls.
There's a difference between being open and being like, let me literally film you doing these things. I don't know. Maybe I'm putting too much power on the
Well, it's
camera.
also fake, and like if anyone knows that
True.
it's a director.
True.
It's not like he's like, oh hey, is that your boyfriend?
he also did try to cast
Yes.
like 4 other people.
Well,
Had Winona Ryder, she dropped out.
had Julia Roberts too.
Really?
Before Winona. Also
Weird
had to
choices,
drop out.
both of them.
Stop.
Definitely.
Madonna said you can't. Absolutely
old.
not.
Madonna? Like,
Yeah.
excuse me?
No, that wouldn't have been good.
Terrible. The daughter of Al Pacino? No.
I don't really see it.
No, not at all. But there's still other actresses. I don't know. Whatever.
Well,
And
I've
she's
also,
fine.
but something
That's
that
the
you
thing.
know,
She's fine.
I wanted
it's like,
to-
what do you want somebody great?
I guess that there's no great person to play that role. It sucks. But also, I feel
Cut
like
it all out.
it was some form of catharsis for him. You know what I mean? His in real life, his son Gio Coppola died in like a boating accident in a movie that he made, and it haunted him. Still haunts him to this day. Like
course.
there was a
How would
recent
it not?
interview.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
that's a
sucks.
forever
There was a
thing.
recent interview where he was just like, "Yeah, you know, if I had
That's
never
what-
made that movie, I'd still have my son."
And that's quite literally what this movie is, inevitably, at the end of the day. Which is why I probably should have focused more on Michael and his daughter.
Yeah.
Honestly.
No,
There should
that's
be
what
more
Brandon was
scenes.
saying, I think, right? That Mary needed more autonomy. She needed more time, more scenes.
No, he's just anti-cousin.
I'm just anti-cousin fucking, and like
So
I
that's the
get
whole
there's a
reason
good
you
way.
hate her character.
Yeah, and I
So
feel
do you also hate Vincent?
well, I don't really like.
You can't not hate Vincent if the only reason you hate Mary is the cousin fucking.
Hit the misogyny button.
I think that's your latent sexism coming
Yeah.
out there,
Well,
buddy.
it's not latent. I'm very openly saying that I don't like her, but
Why
What about
not
him?
Vincent?
I don't love
See,
Vincent
I
either.
love both. I mean, I do.
Well, I was gonna say, let's
actually.
talk about
No, man,
Andy
I just-
Garcia
I
because
just
Andy
think it's
Garcia is
stupid.
weird.
He's great.
He's pretty good.
He's great.
He makes some weird choices though.
Like what? Other
I don't
than
know some of the
Zaza.
screaming.
Mary,
It's
nah.
definitely like when we talked about how people think that James Caan is over the top. It's like, oh no, that's Andy Garcia. James Caan is reined in by comparison.
I don't know. He doesn't really like. He's an angry guy who's like eager to like
And all of his
jump in
yelling
and
is
kill.
off screen.
But like he barely really like ever like actually goes wild. Like the craziest that he goes is
Some
during
all the
the
times
scene-
you told me Michael Corleone to fuck off, huh?
Yeah, is in the scene with Zaza. I was gonna
awesome.
say that's the craziest that he goes because after that, Michael's like, you can't ever show people anything. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
And there's a couple more scenes where he's like, I think we should kill Zaza, and he's like, don't ever tell people what you're thinking.
Yeah.
And you know, instead of getting angry and lashing out, like Vincent sits there and he thinks about it. He's like, no, you're right. Like, people can't know my moves. Like, only the people that I trust can know my moves. And you see him like learn. He's like totally a different guy by the end of the movie, and that takes like some pretty good acting
I agree.
to pull off.
I think he's he's at least top 3 performances in the movie, right?
In this movie, yes.
Maybe 4.
I think
Talia Shire's pretty incredible.
they're
I
all
think
great.
Tay's
And
the
so
best
is
she's ever
the-
The
been.
mainstays of the Godfather series that return are all great.
Yes.
Diane Keaton. This is the first time she's great.
She's
actually.
awesome.
They gave Kay more time.
Yeah, and it's like Jesus.
And
like,
she
this
doesn't
could've
let
been
Michael
good the
get away
whole
with
time.
anything.
Yeah, and Talia Shire is great.
Who is she?
Who's
Talia Shire?
That's Connie.
Oh.
Also, Francis Ford Coppola's sister. Fucking
Yeah.
surprise. Me?
Me too. I had no idea.
Hilarious.
Like I remember during the Godfather 2 episode, why would he give her the benefit of a special monologue that's going to get her an Oscar? Right, sister.
Right,
Got to keep it in the
sister.
family.
It's literally just makes it more clear that that's how Coppola is like
Trying to cope with the loss of his son.
Yeah.
Was that supposed to be a pun? Because that was a bad time.
No, it wasn't actually. I could tell that was a genuine.
Oh.
Yeah, he's just now catching up.
Oh.
Also, but so maybe other best performance, and I don't know if I'm overrating performance versus like script, is the guy who plays the Pope.
Yeah,
Becomes
he's
the
pretty
Pope.
great.
He's
Yeah, John
incredible,
Paul.
and I'm like, that
So
scene's
good.
incredible.
It's awesome.
It might be what's your guys' favorite scene outside? We're gonna discount the opera. We all agree that's the highlight of the movie, yeah? Like just the whole last 30 minutes, like
Yeah.
what's fucking better?
Yeah.
So that's number one, obviously. What's your next favorite scene? I think mine might be Michael with the Pope, like doing his
The opening
confession.
scene?
No,
Oh, the one later.
The confession.
Yeah.
Michael with the Pope is very good. There's another one though that like almost brought me to tears last night. Is when they're at the ceremony where he's like, "I'm giving this company to my daughter," and like they all like have a nice. No. This is actually the celebration because his son is like gonna be in an opera, so they have like a little party.
Yeah.
And they're just like talking around, they're having drinks, and then his son, I think his name is Tony.
Yes.
Right? Tony
Yeah.
comes out and he's like, "Dad, there's a song, it's all in Sicilian. I memorized it and I want to play it just for you."
Oh my
It's
God.
the Godfather.
And
The
he-
Godfather
and
theme.
and he starts to play the Godfather theme and he starts to sing and fucking like Michael takes off his glasses and is like trying to hold back tears and he thinks about his first wife and it's just like I don't know.
Apollonia.
It was so beautiful.
In
dude.
th-
It was
it's
so
like
beautiful.
In concept, it's beautiful, but it's just like,
Going back to the flashback was funny.
yeah, I don't just like the Apollonia
I
stuff
felt it.
sucks.
It's a
in the
Sici-
first
it-
movie. It's like it's not good.
I don't know, like the Sicilian and just feeling like that connection that he
Yeah.
wants to have with his family.
Yes.
And how like they were so close to being like split up, like almost, you know, like in the beginning of the movie where he's like, "I don't want you to pursue this thing. I don't want you to go." And they have this fight and he has to let him go. And then like he shares this song and he's like, "I memorized this for you." And it's all in Italian. And it's like, "You did this for me." Like, "Oh, familia." Like, "I love
Yeah.
you." I don't know. I just felt it. And the way that they're just like looking at each other, it's like, this is good. This is really just like, this is beautiful. Like if it's real, then it's beautiful. Obviously it's a movie, but I just felt connected to it. I was like, this is nice moment. Cause then, him and Sophia have a moment too.
Right. And it's just revealing more and more the whole theme of Michael's always been, I mean, the Corleones in general have always been like, this is for family. But it's like we've talked about before. It's like if you paused and stopped, like if it really was, you
Then what
wouldn't
are
be
you doing?
doing like literally any of this.
I
Like,
think
it's
that this-
like Michael could have just taken his money and stopped probably well before the events of even the second Godfather. It's like, right, because the opening of this movie is the Vatican asking for $769 million to which he can just give them. It's
For
like,
the biggest real estate company in the world, or one of
right,
them?
to take the majority sharehold of the biggest that's in return
Right.
to get rid of the Vatican's debt that they created on their own, which is whatever. That's hilarious. That's not the point. The fucking point
working
is
with religion, working with politics,
Right.
they're all one and the same.
I feel like each movie tackles a different like source of power, and this one is supposed to be the most ethical and spiritual. So of course it's perversion and corruption's the most intense, I guess. It's just like we're like, right, who cares? Whatever. Just that Michael's a fucking asshat. That was the point. Like you could have got out of the game whenever you wanted.
Oh, yeah,
Clearly.
dude.
Yeah.
So
I think
it's
that
like
this is the first movie that's actually about family. Like in
The family
sense
curse.
Right. Like the only movie where Michael is acting on behalf of his family and like he actually is. Instead of it being like this is for my family, but it's really for your dad. And the next one being like, it's for my family, but it's really to keep your power. This one is like, nah, man, I need to get this company. I need to get these shares so that I have a legitimate form of money so that my kids have a way to support their future.
Yeah,
and then it turns
$769 million would be a pretty okay way to support their future.
Right, but you need more.
Right.
That's the
Which
problem.
is why you have to pay the ultimate price.
The loss of the thing that you were trying to protect. I can't imagine he has a relationship with his family after that. Or
No.
brought them closer.
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
They'd be like, this is your fault, motherfucker. If people didn't want to kill you, your daughter wouldn't be dead. You dip nugget. Like,
If the bullet didn't hit you and go through you,
yeah. Like,
you killed her.
you killed her. It's literally your fault.
Should have had stronger skin.
Fucking idiot.
Stop that shit.
The human muscles are capable of stopping bullets.
Hey, wait. I'm so sorry. I do want to rewind real fast to an important question. So Michael Corleone's a billionaire, right?
Yeah.
Like, he has to be.
Yeah. We talked about this.
Right. I just wanted to
You
make
can't-
sure.
Yeah, you
it's
can't
addressed.
spend $769 million if you only have $1 billion. You got to have some billion.
Probably one of the most powerful people in America at that point.
Right. That's insane. Good movie.
Yeah,
It is.
underrated.
Yeah. Like, for sure.
I think it's because people try to hold it up to the same standard as the first two, but it's like, it's not that.
And it feels in a piece with them, at least in this form, at least in the Coda. Like, it doesn't feel so divorced.
No.
Like, its reputation has it maligned. Like, it feels like, right, this makes sense that this is the final part. And
Yeah,
like,
it definitely still
It's-
feels like a natural extension of the first two.
and it looks like pretty great
Yeah,
a lot
Gordon
of the
Willis's
time.
work is pretty damn good. It's a
Dude.
lot brighter this time,
Yeah.
but then there are some darker scenes in this that are darker than anything in the first two.
So towards the end when they're just like hanging out in Italy,
Mhm.
and he takes Kay through the city, like he takes Kay through Sicily or whatever, trying to have like a romantic day or whatever. But she's just like, I see through you, you fucker. Well, when he
good.
initially reveals himself inside of the limo, like, haha, it's me.
That's so scary.
The look on his face. He looks
because
insane.
it's like, I
Imagine it's
gotcha.
Michael Corleone, a notorious serial killer. I gotcha.
You did it yourself this time, huh?
I mean, you kill your brother. Who else will you kill? I'm not off the table.
I'm not off the table. You punched me in the face in the last movie. What movie? Never mind. As soon as he after he does that reveal, the next shot is that car driving through the Italian hillsides, and it is so gorgeous. It looks so good. You get the full shot of I didn't know there were hills like that in Italy. It's fucking dope.
There's hills.
I know now.
There's
Thank you,
hills.
Godfather Part 3, Coda.
Yeah,
version?
thank you. Death of Michael Corleone. Yeah, it's not part 3.
He never wanted it to be called Part 3 because he's
Right.
like, it's not Part 3.
But it is, which is so funny.
Well, it's
I like
the
it better
third
as a
part
Coda.
of the series.
Yeah.
If you're looking at it from that perspective, but the first movie and the second movie are 1 and 2.
Yes.
Part 1, Part 2.
They
of
feel
the
like
same movie.
one long, yeah.
Even
one
though
long
I
thing.
definitely think there's a major jump in quality between 1 and 2.
Right. But if you put that out, the story, it feels
Yeah.
like it's supposed to be one piece of
Well,
those
speaking
two.
of something interesting, did you both know about the original plans for The Godfather Part 4 and what it was supposed to be about?
No.
Oh, to
what?
circle back to literally the beginning, they said if a script appears, they're going to do it. But
Interesting.
Francis said no.
Okay.
But Paramount has the rights and is like, oh yeah, if we get the idea, we're running with it at any time.
I mean, that's a Oscar Gold
Right.
new
So
Godfather movie.
what was the original?
But the original idea was to follow Andy Garcia's Vincent character alongside a side-by-side tale of Sonny's rise through the mafia.
Oh my! So literally repeat.
Literally Godfather 2.
Okay, but I don't
Because
care.
3 is like a repetition of 1.
Leonardo
I'd do it.
DiCaprio was supposed to play young Sonny.
Oh, hell yeah.
And according to Andy Garcia, they nearly started production.
Honestly, thank God.
They
they
were
I
like,
mean,
it was
sure.
already
Glad
there.
they
I think the
didn't,
script
but
was done.
if there was ever gonna be a thing, I'd watch that one
No, that would make
literally
this so dumb.
why?
because
We did it. We
Yeah, but
don't
now
need to do it again.
keep going because they're gonna keep going.
That's life.
That's amore.
It's like, okay,
When the moon hits
if they're
your
gonna
eye.
make a Godfather 4 anyway, and it's gonna be some bullshit story about the new mafioso,
All right.
the Corleones are long gone.
I think at
Hey,
this
hey,
point
hey,
they
yeah.
might just reboot the
fettuccine
Godfather.
now.
What would be our pitch? If you today you were handed the assignment, you have to make Godfather 4. What are you doing in 2021?
I do the same movie.
Pacino's
It's
still
about-
alive.
It's about Vince. Well, Pacino's dead though.
Why?
We don't see him anymore. It's the same thing as Vito. You got to
Oh,
keep
dude.
his shadow over the movie.
You're right.
He can't be there. 'Cause
We
then
film
it's
his death.
Oh, we're waiting for Pacino.
It opens with his actual death.
Opens with the funeral of Michael Corleone.
Nah, man.
And then it's all about Vincent sitting around, and now he's toward the twilight days of his life, and he wants to know more about his father, who he never truly got to know.
Nah, you gotta.
So instead of seeing flashbacks of Sonny, it's him trying to find out more about his father, whilst also trying to settle
Yeah.
his face in the mob.
you know what? That's good. That's good for like an immediate follow up.
Yeah.
If someone came to me and said, "Hey, you gotta make Godfather Part
and
4
he's
today,"
wrestling with the guilt of losing
and he's wrestling with a
Mary.
gator.
his lover cousin.
Yeah.
Cousin lover. Whichever
Be
you
my
prefer.
cousin, lover. If someone walked up to me today and said, "Hey, you gotta make Godfather Part 4,"
Yes.
I would make it black kids in the 80s. When they first started to figure out crack.
Okay.
And then I make it about the rise and fall of the new gangs and how you can't have that structure anymore. And what the new Godfather is like. The
So it
king
has
of the
nothing,
streets.
Nothing
to do with
the
Godfather,
Corleones.
but we're gonna call it Godfather 4.
Because it takes place on the same
You're the Marvel
street.
boy, got
And that's
it.
a spin-off.
Because the
No.
mafia
It's not
is
a
dead.
part 4.
It's
Would you call
gone.
that Star Wars
I'd call it Godfather.
part episode whatever?
I'd call it Godfather for sure. Because it's
Bullshit.
the same universe. It's
What
the
about
same
Father
space.
God? How about that?
Maybe Vito works inside of a little deli now.
Who's
and
Vito?
He gives
Vito is Marlon Brando.
Vincent?
Yeah, maybe Vincent works inside of a deli now, and he gives the kids tips. He's like, "You can't do it like this, man. You gotta show
Yeah.
some respect."
There's no good one. I can't. I literally
Man,
can't
you guys
think of a
started
single
reacting
goddamn
harshly
thing.
when I brought up black kids and crack.
No, it's just why. It's make your own movie then about that. That's
Why does it have to
you're
be The
feeding
Godfather?
into what's wrong with sequels.
You literally asked me to make
I
a
know.
Godfather Part 4.
well, I'll tell you why it's
That sounds
wrong.
like the straight to DVD sequel where they couldn't get anything but the title rights and they couldn't get character names or like anything
It's not-
like
I'm
that.
not
So
saying
it's like
that's
a whole separate movie. It's like 10 Cloverfield Lane. We're just gonna make a movie called The Cellar, and then when J.J. Abrams sees it, he'll be like, "I could make this Cloverfield.
Add an alien at the end.
Do it."
I'm just saying, motherfucker. Make your own movie. That's
You
not
see an
that.
orange in the Godfather thing, you're like, "Oh, that's how it's Godfather."
Yeah, because then you're gonna just have a bunch of callback lines, and it's just gonna be like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Not to tear you down, bro.
No, man, it's gonna.
I mean, Jesse, your answer wasn't that good either.
I mean,
neither
what?
because there's no
Don't-
answer.
Do not commission me to
Right,
write the Godfather
I know.
Part 4.
I don't have a better
I would
one.
turn it down.
I got you.
I don't have an answer.
We're gonna make
Oh, no,
it.
no, no.
'cause
Embarrass yourself, you prick.
I
'cause
literally
you make
don't.
Godfather, you make it a title. You don't make it a family. The Corleones are the
What?
Godfather, but now it's the Robinsons.
I don't know
Whatever.
what the fuck.
Fuck
you're
a
saying
Godfather
anymore.
4.
Yeah, Al Pacino, Andy Garcia, they're both just hanging out like playing board games. That's my version.
So
It's all-
yours is called
it's-
Turner and Hoop.
Yeah, that's the vibe. No, it's like Pacino's too old that we stick with Michael. He's not dead. We can do some de-aging bullshit for Andy Garcia to make it work if
So
he has
the
to be a
Irishman.
little. Yeah, but Al will be the right age to pick
Irishman
up
3 is the Irish.
after where 3 now ends, where he's not dead, just old. And it's about his days of nothing. And then Andy Garcia shows up sometimes to like hang out. That's my version. It's
So
not
Mike-
good.
To me,
That's boring. Like,
Godfather
who
Part 3
cares?
is the Irishman.
Right. Yeah. That's better.
It's all about just getting the chance to work with Pacino. That's all the only reason why I did it.
Which one, what do you want? What do you want to do? Godfather Part 4? We can do it. I already got an idea. Just whatever you want, sir. Please.
I really want to work with Al Pacino.
I want to have a threesome like Clint Eastwood did.
You just
I
Hell
don't
yeah.
know. I
You
don't
make
know.
Heat 2 through the Godfather Part 4.
Yeah.
Take on Brandon's idea for a better cause.
No. I mean, maybe.
What?
We're going to make Heat 2. Godfather Part 4, semicolon, Heat 2,
Oh no,
dash.
no, we can't do that. Let's never touch it. Let's never say the
Good
words
times.
Heat 2 unless we mean Heat as well.
Okay, wait.
Electric
Okay.
Boogaloo.
We gotta And then it's never mind. Forget it. I'm going too deep. It's like it's a movie about it turns into a movie about Al Pacino's merging his. He doesn't know where he is anymore.
Yeah.
About Al Pacino losing his mind. Vincent Hanna and Michael Corleone. Like, yeah,
It's Holy Motors, but with Al Pacino.
Yes,
That'd be pretty great.
that'd be fun. Old Al Pacino. Hell yeah.
It's like the Willem Dafoe movie.
Yeah, I know. I realized that. But Al Pacino.
That's better.
It is better. That was the missing piece. Al, get him on the phone.
What did I just say?
What else?
So what's the budget and box office look like for the Godfather
Kind of
Part
crazy.
3?
Kind of crazy. Budget 54 million, which I was like, sounds right, but in today that's 108.6. It's a big motherfucking budget.
Yeah, it's a pretty big budget.
Made 136.8. Today 275.3.
Pretty good return.
Yeah, I
good
think
return.
it did better than the second one, if I'm not misremembering. Like the second one
That would drag
did
because I don't
good.
think it was supposed to even win Best Picture that year, and it just did.
The second one?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a semi-surprise. But yeah. Oh, you know what? Good thing too. The third one, even though it was like kind of mixed and in some circles maligned from the get-go, but then other people like Ebert and Siskel both, I think, had it like in their top 10
3
of
out
the
of
year.
4 or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
But the movie still got nominated for like 7.
Gordon Willis finally got his nomination.
Right. Francis again, Best Picture, supporting for Garcia, art direction, editing, and original song. So the
Godfather theme song.
yeah, the one that he sings. Yeah. But then no Al Pacino.
That's surprising.
That's kind of crazy.
Was
Does
Al
he get
Pacino nominated for
the
something
other
else
ones?
that year?
Let me look.
Because sometimes that's what'll do.
No.
Damn.
The winner was Jeremy Irons in Reversal of Fortune and Richard Harris in The Field, Kevin Costner, Dance with Wolves, De Niro in Awakenings, and Gerard Depardieu in some fucking movie. Cyrano
guy.
de Ber... I can't say that.
Wait, Cyrano de Bergerac?
That's the one.
Good one.
This is folks, this is a good time to remind people. This is why you should never listen to anything we say.
Yeah, we don't know.
I don't know what
the
the fuck I'm talking about ever.
Well, you
So,
can have fun and smoke weed with us. And if you don't smoke weed, that's fine.
That's
Yeah.
fine. Get a contact guy. So it's crazy that Al wasn't even nominated when like he could be a winner that year.
Did
It's
he get
fucking
nominated
incredible.
for other Godfathers?
Yes, 1 and
Okay.
2 did not win for either.
Now,
His only Oscar is for Scent of a Woman. Woo-ha.
Coppola has done quite a few director's cuts now of some
Yeah.
of his movies. Where would you say this stacks up with the ones you've seen? Because I think it's probably the best. I haven't seen the theatrical cut to know the difference that much, but I imagine I would like this version a lot more than the version we read about.
I actually think, if going off memory, because I haven't rewatched the original of either in a long time, I'd say The Outsiders is actually better.
Really?
Doing the complete novel, because that went from me hating it to absolutely loving it, and Godfather 3 went from me liking it to loving it, and I'm like, bigger jump.
Yeah,
But maybe I'm misremembering the theatrical of both.
yeah.
But they're the two for sure. What's the other?
Apocalypse Now's got one now too.
Yeah, and I think we both agreed like the
Oh, the theatrical's the best version
I
of
think it's the best
Apocalypse
version.
Now.
The plantation stuff is interesting in concept, and I'm glad
It's too
we
much.
have versions. But like, right, it's like you don't need it.
Yeah.
Like, I get why you
The
want to make it.
excursion with Kurtz feels way long enough.
Yeah,
Like in terms of like it takes up enough movie to fill in the gaps.
just focus on the
gaps.
focus on the
Gaps.
story.
Yeah.
He got too obsessed with trying to be like this definitive piece about Vietnam. And
Yeah.
all
I mean,
its
I'm glad we
history.
got to see it in IMAX.
Right. I mean, and it's cool it exists, but yeah. So yeah, those two. Outsiders,
Okay.
Godfather 3.
I mean, like there's also the Cotton Club and
Right.
Outsiders is state. Who he was looking at you, Pony Boy, right? Am I thinking of the right movie?
I mean-
looking at you, Pony Boy.
Yeah, close enough. It's Stay Golden,
I know.
Pony Boy.
I know.
Here's looking at you, Pony Boy.
I'm very sorry to you, Outsiders and Casablanca.
Humphrey
I've
Yes.
done you both very injustices.
Two movies I've had a 180 on in the last year, where I went from actively talking shit about both to literally loving both and sobbing during both.
You
So
want to know what's crazy? I've never seen Casablanca's but Casablanca, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Never seen it, but I remember being like early middle school, and I saw a meme that I didn't understand, and that's what made it so funny. It was just a security camera. It was a photo of a security camera, and it had the words, "Here's looking at you, kid." And it just made me crack up. And I was like, I love that phrase. I'm going to Google it. Here's looking at you, kid. And then it was just like a Casablanca's thing. And I was like, oh, Casablanca.
Twice.
And I was like, oh, this is dope. I don't know what this movie is, but this guy is everything I need to be. Here's looking at you, kid. So that's all I know about the movie, but I still remember that meme, and I don't think I'll ever forget it.
Would you want to watch it when we're done?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Okay. I only said yes because I knew we wouldn't.
That's sad.
I'll watch
For
something
me.
else.
No.
See?
Casablanca.
Even though I just watched.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so did I.
What else? Family. I got some notes. I should look them over. My Bonnie was the parade song, right?
Well,
For sure.
You know, I wanted to talk
My
about the
Bonnie.
parade scene in this because I think that that's another one that was mirrored from The Godfather 2.
Yeah.
Like they take that whole thing basically right out of it.
Right. And it's fine.
No, it's good. It's interesting.
It's a good scene.
There's a
but
lot
it's
of good
literally
visual
the
set
same
pieces in
thing.
that. Yeah,
What
it
is?
is the same thing.
The when they
shootout,
kill
the killing
Zaza.
of Joey Zaza.
Joey Zaza.
It's just like the killing in
parade?
Godfather 2. Italian assassins. They're climbing the rooftops. Italian assassins. No one's on the rooftops.
He sneaks in to a parade.
No, where the guy's like, "Hey, Joey Zaza, fuck
just
yo!" And then he's distracting him so that way the dudes that look like they're in the KKK carrying the Mother Mary are like, "Pakack," with the
Yeah,
shotgun.
I don't remember that happening in 2.
That's
no,
in 3.
that's in 3.
And
We're
then
talking about
2,
3.
it's
No,
when
I know
Italian
that's in
assassin,
3.
Italian
Okay.
assassin.
It's not the same thing, but it's like
It's a
right,
variation of it.
you're the guy assuming power by doing an assassination during a big Italian parade in New York. It's like it's quite literally
Is
the
that
same
Little Italy?
setup. I think so. That's all. It's like right, they do it. They literally do something different, but it is quite.
Everything is a mirror, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the opening scene at the Vatican is similar to the opening scene of the first Godfather,
Right, and then
where
it has
it's Brando talking to who was that character in the first one?
Enzo the no, that's not Enzo. What's his name?
I can't remember.
Doesn't
You can look it
matter.
up. But anyway, similar to that, and then we go into a party sequence similar to how both Godfathers go into a celebration sequence, and then we go back into the Don's parlor office where there's, back talk and discussion about criminal activities and shit. And in this case, it's the battle between Joey Zaza and Vincent. And then we get, similar scenes like there's the hit on Vincent, where Vincent takes control, finds more out about Zaza, and is like, oh, they're like, Zaza's guys are going to come back after you. And he's like, Zaza, I don't care. No one's going to send a message to me. I don't care about Zaza. I'm going to kill him. And then the events unfold as they do.
All right, I guess let's see where you guys are coming from.
Buenasera?
Buenos Aires?
Buenasera? That his name?
Come on, bring out that quarter.
I didn't hear anything you said. I've been trying to figure out who this
No,
guy
it's okay.
fucking is.
There was no
Here,
more.
the character to the Buenasera. Why does that ring no fucking bells? That's his literal name? Okay. The guy in the first scene of the first Godfather.
I believe in America.
Yeah, who gives the dope monologue. It's great, but I guess his name is Buenasera. Somebody correct us, right, to me. That's what quick high Googling gets you. Maybe right, maybe wrong. Maybe fuck yourself.
Do you got anything else?
What about Godfather?
3.
In general?
3.
3?
Yeah.
Well, there.
Yeah.
Because we could either get blunt and then talk about the trilogy.
Right. No, one
'cause
thing.
I think that's going to be a big subject.
One thing. I
got
wrote
stuff.
this down, and I feel like it was a quote of Michael saying something, but I'm not positive about the old want to like hold on and the young want it all. I feel like I interpreted it into those phrases, but like he was talking to Vincent kind of about like the secular when he's giving him the power.
No,
When he's like, you got to let go of the power. Or it might be a different. scene.
it's after the hit when it's him.
Yeah.
He's walking
Yeah.
around
Yeah,
with
yeah,
Vincent,
yeah.
and he's like, all right, I guess we got to make a deal with Zaza. And Vince is like, what the fuck? Like, no, we're literally not. Did you see what he's doing? Like, let's kill him. Like, why you blah, blah, blah,
Right.
why you got to do all this? Blah,
Don't
blah,
tell
blah,
people
blah.
what you're thinking.
But that's when he's like, listen, tell Zaza that, we can strike up a deal. I respect Zaza. The old always overtakes the new. That's the way
it's natural.
No.
That's the way it works.
The other
It's
way
natural.
around, but still.
Yeah,
The new overtakes the
the
old.
new overtakes the old. That's
Yes.
the way it's natural. He's like, hell, it's what I did.
Right. And that's what I was going to. So it's like, it's the balance of the two is where you find like actual progress. It's like, so like in a weird way, Vincent is somehow the most balanced between those two of anybody in the whole series. Like weirdly enough, because he's like listening to Michael and taking his advice, but then he's still like
doing on his own, acting
Right.
on his own. I really
and
like
I'm
that.
trying to get power and I'm trying to do what I think is right for the future, but I still want to listen and I still want to learn, which like Michael might have if Vito was around, but like he wasn't. So Michael was like close and Vito didn't have anybody. He literally had to completely disobey the old to create something new. It's like weird that Vincent finds that balance, but it's like, what does that even mean? I don't know.
The order.
Vincent is the
I'm
closest
asking you to give
Don.
me the order.
Give me the order. Vincent is the closest Don to Vito in terms of like their goal and their mission. Vito did it because he felt like he had to protect the neighborhood. Michael's whole deal was, I got to do it for my dad. And he even explains that to Kay when he's trying to win her back over, where he basically explains the plot of the first two movies, where he's like, the first one, my father was the man I loved the most on this planet. I respected him, Kay, and he was in trouble. And so I had to help him. You see, I had to help him. And then he's like, and then you guys were in trouble. My family was in trouble. And I had to do what I had to do. Like, you got to understand that, Kay. And of course, she's not hearing any of that shit because it is all bullshit. But
Right.
you see that Michael's reasons are a lot more like, even though, family is literal, like his reasoning is a lot more superficial. When Vincent is breaking down why he wants power, because Michael's rambling on and on. He's like, everyone wants power. Everyone wants power to take what's theirs. And he goes, no, I want power to protect what I already have. Like that. I don't want a family just to, and this is him explaining it to, I forget his name. It starts with an A. The one who looks like Olaf.
Oh, Don Antebello.
Antebello, when he's like basically sneaking around for Michael.
Altobello.
When he's sneaking around for Michael, trying to get in with Altobello, so Altobello will reveal his secret to betray Michael or whatever.
Right.
He says the reason that he wants power is to protect, and the reason he wants a family is to protect his family and to protect the Corleone name. And to me, that's like the most like honest iteration there's been, and we see Vito's honest like not upbringing, but honest like coming up in Godfather 2, and it feels very similar to that. He's still much more of a hothead, more like James Caan that we saw before, but I feel like he's got like the spirit of Vito, because he doesn't seem like this piece of shit motherfucker who's just ready to go off at any time, which is how Caan is, but he also like he has that fire in him.
Right.
I like
It's
that.
for when he it's like with the Michael level of reasoning, when he decides this person deserves my fury, I'm going to let it rip. Instead of being like Michael, where it's like, I'm going to do a way too complicated plan to secretly fuck you. And it's like, just kill him. What are we doing?
Well, let's just do that. Why don't we do that? And
Just
then,
be honest.
The
Get
goal
cut
is to
down to
kill
the
as
thing.
little as possible, but like at the end of the day, we're still going to end up killing them.
So
Right?
just do it. Why let them? Yeah, it weirdly that is more Vito, because Vito isn't doing those like crazy move. He's like, let's not kill anybody for a while. Like, let's see how it plays out more. He waited for info. Okay, that's dope. I got a few more things I want to mention before we get blunt.
Yeah, I got some. We'll take turns.
Who's Al Neri? Like, he was in it, and it's like his bodyguard, and I knew the name, and I was like, I cannot remember who he was in the previous film.
Is he in the previous films?
He for sure is. I'm like, that name, I'll look it up. I thought you guys might know.
No.
Oh, he kills Fredo.
Oh,
He's the one who killed Fredo. That's why Kay makes that comment where he's like, I see you still got Al or whatever. And Like, I thought you were legit. Why do you still have this fucking guy around then? Got it. Okay, that's one. 2, shout out to the queen herself, Catherine Scorsese.
Big shout
Yes.
big shout out.
We love
She's
to
a
see
highlight of
Mama.
this film.
When I was
yeah.
retreading it yesterday, because I was like, I'm not rewatching this whole thing. I'm definitely picking up where I fell asleep, and I fell asleep like almost right after. Like I perked up for the Scorsese scene, and then went right back to fucking sleep.
That's just
Catherine
so
Scorsese
nice.
starred in 2 of the biggest movies in 1990.
Yeah.
Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Nice.
Queen was out there getting it. I'm just saying. Goodfellas, she borders stealing the movie.
Yeah.
She
Almost,
borders
for sure.
Right. It's like if that scene was in
Robert
Godfather
De Niro
3,
didn't do the ketchup the way he did it.
he stole it right back. It's just always nice to see a good friend, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
An old
it is.
homie.
And I just wanted one other 2 things. I like how fatalist it feels. Like the first 2 are definitely like dark and serious pictures, but there's something in the mood of this where it feels so like everything is doomed. There is no redemption.
I
Like
get
you're
that in
here
2
to
also though.
Mhm.
It's present.
it more
It's not
here,
a
for
right.
sure.
This is. I feel like that's almost like the main thing it's cranking. It's definitely there in 2 with the in the structure supports that, right? It's like
That
these
and the
things
opening
are,
alone is
Yeah.
like I said, it
Right.
felt like the prologue to like the family curse beginning.
And you're
And
seeing
then he
his
sets up the doomsday.
but I
idea.
feel like that's like the driving mood here, other than like the regretful longing,
Mhm.
which doesn't click into place until you see it all,
Mhm.
and then it makes the whole movie. Like I enjoyed that more on the second watch. I was like remembering where we're gonna end up. I'm like, I see you building these pieces
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
And then just last thing I liked was it's dangerous to be an honest man when he's like, we gotta protect the Pope.
And when the
it's
Pope is like, you're right, Michael. He's cleaning house. You should be happy. It's dangerous to be an honest man.
and then they
You should tell him
immediately
to be
kill him.
careful. Yeah, they fucking offed him, which is crazy. They killed the Pope.
Hey, if they
Like,
can
what?
kill the Pope, they can kill the president of the union.
They kill the
Back
president of
to
the
the
whole
left.
country.
Back
Back
to the
to the
left.
left. I'm just saying.
And then we get
Back
some of the best shots of the
to the
Godfather
left.
3 during that
Yes.
sequence.
Yes.
No pun
The
intended.
person
guy-
hanging from the bridge with the money falling.
The-
The person coming down from the church,
Yeah.
like the stained glass window.
That Weasley guy, no, he's not the Archbishop. Is he an Archbishop? He is an Archbishop.
Archbishop
at the
is
very
the
least.
one
The one
who's
who's
who you think
one
is
from
on
the
your
beginning?
side.
huh?
The one from the beginning.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's the
He's-
Archbishop.
He's all right.
In his performance or as
Yeah.
a character.
He kind of
Performance.
talks like this.
Yeah, we literally never brought him up.
Yeah, he's
once.
fine.
He's fine.
He's
He's in
good.
it quite a bit.
Yeah. No, he's good.
Yeah.
So he's fine though. I was like,
He ends
oh.
up being a piece of shit like everybody else.
Yeah, of course. Okay.
Yeah.
That's it. Those are my sense. Brandon, you said something.
I have, I think, 2 things. One is there was one good moment between the cousins where I was like, you know what? Separated from everything.
Let him have it.
This is nice.
Okay.
When she goes to the bar and she's like, hey, after it's before they have
are you
a
gonna talk
truly.
You're about to say when they're
No, no,
making
no.
the pasta.
Before
That
the
was
truly
disgusting.
awful scene of them making the pasta.
The Noki.
Before it gets any type of, first of all, if they, I know that they're supposed to be making gnocchi, but at least 4 of them, I was like, you guys
Making
didn't do
gnocchi?
it. You guys didn't do it. You just, it's supposed to be more of a roll. Even I know that. I'm not even. They barely rolled one.
You guys,
Anyways.
is that the joke?
No, stop. Wait,
Is that the joke?
wait.
Because they don't fuck, but they make the gnocchi. That kind of sounds like gnocchi.
Okay, so
I'm
anyways,
just saying.
before that truly awful scene, they're
What do you mean?
they're in the-
Awful. It's hot.
they're in the dark and it's silhouetted.
I don't know.
What's your
I'm just
deal?
fucking around. I'm just fucking
They're
around.
in the dark.
Wait,
and it's
so wait,
silhouetted.
what is it
I
now?
knew.
What is it now?
I knew it. I literally knew it.
You gotta say
Now it's
it.
dark. They're silhouetted.
Just say you love it. Just
my
say
God.
you
I
love
told
it.
you that I love it. It's not my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah, we'll work
Mommy
with
to admit.
Just get mommy to admit. Hashtag get mommy to admit. Okay. I'm Frank.
No, I'm just saying.
I'm Brandon.
And they
I love
hold
hold
hands.
it. Okay, so they're in the dark. It's silhouetted. It's after he's like, you can't be in here. And she's like, can I just stay for like a bit? And it's before she's like, can I stay for longer than a bit? But they're in the bar and it's silhouetted and it's just her being like I'm actually kind of scared. Like, I'm scared about my dad. I'm scared about the situation. I'm just scared in general. And he's like, I'm gonna protect you. I'm gonna protect everything in this family. Like, I got this. Like,
no.
don't need to worry. And I was like, you know what? If I didn't think that they were cousin fuckers, then this is nice. Like, it's just cousins trying to reassure each other. So that's what I said. I was trying to give them one. You can't shit on everything. Try to give them one.
I regret most of the things I've said in this episode. I'm just starting to think about it like,
That's what you get. Hope to pay for it.
Yeah,
and then the last thing that I want to say is that something that we didn't mention, but while they're in Italy, Michael has a very cute little neck scarf. Like, he wears it.
Isn't that an ascot?
I think that it is so.
Jesus Christ.
I think that
like
it's
an
so
orange?
cute. This little old man who's like killed like
silly.
dozens of people. He's wearing
literally
his little
silly.
scarf and
Dude,
talking
okay,
to his
also-
ex-wife and talking about how much he like loves her and how he's messed up. And she's like, you haven't thought about these things critically at all, but God damn it, I still love you.
Dude, one of the worst scenes,
you, Michael.
one of the worst
Shut
scenes
up.
in the movie is when Michael sits with his son and he shows him the picture he drew from him at Godfather 2. And it's like,
I
why
hate
would
that.
you have saved that?
You know
It's
what?
like, just
You know-
make it a drawing of
Yeah.
anything. Why does it have to be the exact one from the Godfather 2?
Exactly.
It's just intertextuality
Because-
to be like, remember that?
Right. If it was actually a different drawing, that would be a good callback.
It's
Keep it
like
to
a mirror.
yourselves.
Consistency. in
Did you
the
say keep it to
Godfather series.
ourselves?
Yeah.
All
Shut
right.
up.
I think that
It's just lazy movie making.
How are you supposed to know if you haven't seen the photo before? What do you want? That makes
What?
sense to me. You
do
see
you
him
mean?
give him the drawing in
Right.
Godfather 2.
I'm
he
saying
still has the drawing in Godfather
so that's
Coda.
the one. So that's the one photo that kid ever gave his dad, and
It's
so,
the one that
And
we
it's the one
saw.
time that he gave a
right.
shit.
So why, just trust an audience. If it was any other picture, you would remember like like the picture he gave him in 2.
No, I would go, what about the picture he gave you in 2? Why'd you show us that one? What's so important
Well,
about
fuck
that?
me
It's
then.
a callback. What's the point of making a fucking
callback.
prequel or
Fucking
sequel?
defeatist
Because
asshole.
listen,
It's a
listen.
callback.
My problem with a callback in general and the way they're used, it's like we already have it. I don't want it again. I'd prefer something new. Give me an idea that can be new. I
That's
don't
a callback.
need the.
I'm gonna
I'm
kick
saying
your
like your
ass.
problem is with the callback in and of itself.
Yes, but there's a better way to do it.
All right.
Let's get blunt. I'm done. I'm Jesse.
Do you have something? I'm Frank.
I'm Brandon.
Not
They
saying
hold
that.
hands.
They do. I'm not. I'm not saying it.
I will next time. Listen.
Frank, how do you feel about the Godfather Coda, Death of Michael Corleone?
It's great. I love it. I really do.
Did you vote it in the canon?
Hold, slow your roll.
You know, you're very
in a
pushy
rush?
today.
You in a
I
rush?
just asked a question.
Are you in? I'm asking a question now, motherfucker. You in a rush?
No.
Premium Rush. Have you ever seen it?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Michael Shannon, yeah.
Really?
He's a
I never
bike.
saw it.
He's a biker.
Yeah.
I know that much.
It's an action movie.
I'm starting to learn.
Okay. It's fucking great. I don't know. I liked it less the second watch, but I think and that proves it's not as good as the first two, just because those two are rewatchable in close vicinity. But this one feels like you kind of need to be on the heels of the two to get that like full picture feeling, because it felt so satisfying when we first watched it. But now being like a few months removed, it was just like, right, this is a great. I do love this movie, but it's not at the same level like
The
I
upper
thought for a
echelon.
second it was. I would still give it a 4.5 out of 5, and I would say it should be in the canon. But the whole trilogy should. It feels like an essential piece, and without it, you'd be missing something. That's it. That was my sense. Brandon or Jesse?
Yeah, I felt about the same about the movie each time. There were things I liked about it more the second time, things I didn't like about it more the second time.
Give me one example for each.
One thing I liked more
Mhm.
about it the second time was Pacino's performance.
Yeah.
Because I just appreciated how much more intricate it felt compared to the first time.
The physical, you pointing out the physical was huge.
Yeah, because it's the whole time.
Right.
It's something that's very consistent. It feels like he's being a character, not just, bah,
Mhm.
I'm Al. It's Dunk!
God damn it.
And one thing I didn't like as much was Sofia Coppola's performance.
Mm-hmm.
And the pacing, which I think is just like, it drags a lot.
Yeah, pacing's wonky for sure, and it stinks because again, I don't think
And
you
it's
can
not
even
like
get rid of
like the
anything.
last 30 minutes is about a perfectly paced movie as you could ever ask for. Everything leading up to that is like clunky.
It felt like a slog, but then those last 40 minutes, even I remember it was like blink of a motherfucking eye.
Yeah, no,
it was
it's
like
fast.
it's over.
But there were multiple times throughout that I was like, Jesus, this is so fucking long. And that I don't say that in the first two Godfathers. Only during the Italy sequence of one. Which is too long and unnecessary. But
It's necessary.
Yeah.
He just again could have done
Apollonia
it a
my
little
age.
better. Could have done that way better.
But regardless, I'd still give it a 4 out of 5. I still think it's a great movie. I do think it's a central piece to the Godfather series, and I would vote it into the canon.
And we're clarifying we are only technically
The
voting
Godfather
in.
Coda.
Yeah.
The Death of Michael Corleone.
Okay. Brandon. Final vote, but yeah.
I love this movie.
Yeah.
Like so much, actually. Like I think that, and I know we're gonna go over the trilogy here in a minute, but it is my favorite Godfather movie. And I think that I'd watch this
Still?
probably at the same, still cemented. Actually, like it was getting wary for a second where I was like, meh, but there's definitely
Go watch two.
it's cemented. I don't think I want to. Like I don't. But we can get into that more later.
Yeah,
We can get into that more later.
Like right
But-
after.
But like 3 is my favorite. I think that it gives me such a heavy like the soul and the vibe of the Irishman that I fucking resonate with. Like I feel it very much so in here.
Yeah,
I would
definitely.
I would give it 5 out of 5 stars, and I would add it into the Chronic Canon.
So
So you heard it here
That's
first,
official.
folks. It's official. The
All three?
Godfather, only Coda, but the Godfather Trilogy, 1, 2, and Coda are all here in the canon.
nice. But so does
Official.
that mean you rank them 3, 1, 2?
Yes,
That's crazy.
3 and 1 are fighting though, because like 1 I would readily go back to. 2, I'm just like, man, I think that was only good because it was just like, right,
mean,
this is objectively good.
That is a
But in my
cooler
head,
ranking
I'm
than
just
mine.
like, this is boring.
I think Jesse and I have the same one of 2, 1, 3.
2, 1, 3.
Yeah.
Which is the very, very general cliche ranking of the 3 movies.
Fair rankings. I'm gonna go 3, 1, 2 though.
2 is just undeniable, man.
Yeah.
I could see 3
I think
being
that
better
speaks
than
more
1
to,
one
like-
day.
Ooh, I was gonna say I could see me bouncing back to 1 at some point.
See, I don't think
I'm
that's gonna
close.
be the case.
I mean, 1 is literally the easiest to watch of them all. Like,
See, I mentioned this to Brandon earlier too, and I was like, see, but I think if I'm choosing a Godfather movie to watch, 2 every day, all the time.
too long.
Maybe.
Too
But I love
long.
it.
I do too. I think it's the best one. But my hand's itching toward the first. I'm also planning to not watch these for a while.
Yeah, probably for the best.
Definitely,
We've
like-
thought Godfather for a while.
It's,
We've been sitting on it for a long time.
I mean, they're important.
They are.
What
We did it.
So Brandon, as a person who has now come to the radical conclusion that the third one is the best one, coming into this with having never seen any of them, what am I trying to ask? Expectations versus reality. That's what I don't know how to phrase that in a question. So just tell me.
I expected
Got it?
more from Godfather 2, expected less from Godfather 3. Godfather 1 met all my expectations and I'm like overseeded them where I was just like, yeah, of course this is gonna be a good American classic. And then I was like, holy shit, this is fucking good. Like, actually, nice. And then 2 was like, yeah. I'm excited. I've heard it's like so many great things about this. Robert De Niro, you're blowing it out of the park. Fucking Pacino, you're crazy. But then it's like, I wanted more from Pacino. I will say that like De Niro does everything that he's got to do. Young Vito's storyline does everything that it's got to do. But in my head, all the parts that I don't care for and all the parts that I believe are the most boring and the least dynamic is everything with Michael. Though I will say, to shoot back to something we were talking about earlier, that I see the fatalist in The Godfather Part 2 in the sense that everything we're seeing Michael do is basically him going back on everything he did in Godfather Part 1. So we're seeing him break his morals into that. That's pathetic. Into that seems like, right, this can only end poorly. Like, this is all just setting up an inevitable downfall. So I see the fatalist in that, just to go back to that. But Godfather 2 to me seems like, you know, if I'm only going to really love half of the movie, why would I ever go back to that? Where it's like, not why would I ever go back to that? Because I would, because I know that it's great. But like, why would I, compared to 1 that's got me compelled the whole time, and maybe I can only say that because I've only seen it once, so of course I'm going to be compelled. But then compared to 3, which I've already seen twice, which also leaves me compelled the whole time, because I'm like, right, what happens after all of this, after everything we've seen? Like, what happens? I'm gonna say, right.
Do love that as a general thing. I love the right, but how does this naturally?
The slow fall. It's like this is beautiful. This is great. So that's really what sticks out to me, and that's what my sort of how my expectations were met. Like, basically, for the most part, they were exceeded.
Should we do an impromptu mini roll up, like just off the dome? Like across the 3 movies, like what's the best performance?
Look,
I mean, we were all
Pacino or Pacino?
I don't know. Is it even? Because Brando's in there. Because De
Niro's in there.
De Niro's in there.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably Brando. Like, of every single performance and all of it, because if you think about it, the face of the Godfather is Brando, and I don't just think that that's like an iconography thing. I think the iconography is only cemented because of the quality of performance. And Brando is a shadow that lingers over every single movie after his performance.
What are votes for? Would we say a consensus vote would be maybe Brando the first one, De Niro the second one, Pacino the third? Like, who's the best in each one?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
Like, obviously, I think you could easily argue Pacino for all 3. Like,
that's what I was going to say. If we're talking about,
I think he's number 2 in each of those movies. Or in the first 2. Like, right, I think that there's one performance that might outshadow him, whereas in 3 he has the mic.
Right. I agree with that. So we might as well give somebody else a chance.
Sure.
I might give Pacino the award for 2 simply for the look he gives between Connie and her new husband when she's like, I'm going to marry him, and then he just does that side glance from left to right, and then eventually they hold hands, and then he's like, Connie, if you marry this man, you will disappoint me.
He's so good. And he's
Amazing.
So good in the first one. The restaurant scene is like the best piece of acting. Until 3.
No, that's
the cries of pain.
I wanted to say, I think the best scene in any of the Godfather movies is in Godfather 2. And not just because I think it's the best of the 3, but I think it's the final flashback dinner scene at the Corleone house with Tom Hagen and Sonny. Yeah.
That's great.
And everybody.
You'd put that over Italian Assassin?
Oh, yeah. Like, I think as far as like the best scene in any Godfather movie, the one that means the most, it's that one. And then the execution of not showing Don Vito and just hearing everybody singing for He's a Jolly Good Fellow as Michael is sitting by himself. It's the whole series wrapped up in one scene.
I don't know. You could argue the same thing, Mary's death.
That too. I think that that's also one of the best scenes in the movie.
And then
in the series.
And then the first has to be the restaurant, because that's what
the restaurant scene, as well as Vito's death, which is a pretty great scene.
All good.
All great.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, we're trying to juggle the best moments in the Godfather series, and that's a hard task.
Who's the best, like, single, like, super supporting performance? I'm thinking, like, Clemenza in the first
Cazale.
one.
I forgot that we didn't mention him at all. Because I remember when we
first
dissected who we thought the best performances were, I was like, I think it might be Fredo.
What about the guy who says Manja?
Oh, what's his name?
Oh, you talking about fucking what's his ass who's like Morta?
Yeah,
the
Morta.
Don in the second one.
The guy who's the replacement for what's his ass? Clemenza.
No.
He's the replacement.
He's talking about
he's talking about Pentangeli, but Pentangeli was the replacement for Clemenza because the old Clemenza wouldn't come back. And the
That
only
is
Clemenza that Pentangeli is a stand-in for Clemenza. That was supposed to be Clemenza.
Okay. Yeah.
In 2.
Because I forgot. What was confusing me is they still have young Clemenza
Yeah.
in the De Niro scenes.
God, all the De Niro scenes, motherfucker. That
Yeah.
Great. They're
I do not
objectively
weep
great.
in any other scene in The Godfather like I do when they first get to America. That shit is fucking unreal.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the reason that you might have an issue with Godfather 2 in some ways, because I think it has to separate its attention between the intimate character study of the Corleone family, Michael most specifically, but the Corleones in general, as well as a sprawling American epic that speaks to the history in the broadest way about the country, and how that is, through the Corleone legacy, it reflects the greater whole of America.
Right. The
Whereas in
epitome
both
of the
Godfather
American
1
dream.
and Godfather 3, it is definitely more confined to the space of the Corleones.
Yes.
Even though 3 tries to expand it out to like the mob goes beyond just its own thing in American government. It's also, world government, and it's world religion, and it's the Catholic Church. And
I mean,
it's
but that's all
everywhere.
present in the second one. Minus
Everything's
the church.
corrupt.
Minus
That's all
the church.
on top of the family stuff. I feel like that's also what Coppola's just been trying to like jam into our brains. Is like, right? It's not just like the Corleones are who you're watching, but it's not just them. Everything's corrupt.
Right. It's the classic, what is sold to be the ultimate American tale. Come from nothing, from somewhere else, to make something of yourself and become the most powerful person in the world with all the money and all the glory or whatever.
Pretty
And it's
close to
just-
being a Greek tragedy
Right.
on an American cinematic level.
It's
Like in terms of that legacy of artistic storytelling.
I feel like it's almost indisputable. Like it's just like all technical stuff that the second one's the watermark in that.
Yeah, oh yeah,
regard.
it's
just,
easily the most gorgeous of the series.
right. If then he had the most time, the most control, the most freedom. It
The
makes
easiest
sense.
time
It's-
making it,
for
too.
sure.
Mhm.
I think script wise, second one's also the most impressive.
Yeah.
But I could hear
Being that it
arguments
juggles
for,
so much.
Yeah, I agree.
It's doing so much. I think the idea to do the young Vito juxtaposed with
Mhm.
Michael's story is just the most brilliant choice ever. And I
And-
think that that's why it works out. Like it's a matter of luck. It's like I said, like I think part of the reason The Godfather 3 doesn't work is because had he made The Godfather 3 2 years after he made The Godfather 2, he probably would have likely had way more creative control and way more say in how he got to execute his vision, and people wouldn't have been as upset at him for things. Like I know a big thing that Coppola states about 3, which he says makes it innately incomplete to him, is the inclusion, or the exclusion rather, of Tom Hagen. Robert Duvall, because Duvall wouldn't come back because they wouldn't pay him the same salary as Pacino.
Right. He says Pacino's making 4 times what he was making.
Yep. He
He's-
said it'd be one thing if it was 1 or 2, but
Right.
it's 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
I feel like that's fair.
And
Says
so they
he
kind of
doesn't
replaced
regret.
the Hagen character with a new lawyer.
Yeah, and he's not important.
No.
Like
but if
at
it were
all.
Hagen, it'd
Right.
be a completely different story.
Right. But I think it still works. Like it's like because they don't make that lawyer a part of it. It's like I don't even.
We're not even
realize
putting
it's
a light on it.
missing.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But I agree. Like what could have fucking been? I wish to have that extra layer of the
It's like
one
if
brother.
we could
you
have the
still
perfect
have.
movie. Yeah, that's still another element that we'd love to see.
But that's why
I don't want-
Connie's there.
right.
Connie
and
would have
she-
been there anyway.
But I mean, I feel like honestly, she probably takes on a more vital role because of the lack
Yeah.
of Hagen, which
Yeah.
is I'm glad about.
She seems
No.
far more assured in her place in the Corleone family in this
Yes.
movie.
Yes.
But, there are only like some parts where I was like, God damn it, Connie, stay out of this. Let Vincent decide on his own.
I do want to acknowledge the first script, even though I think the second one's the best. Cause I mean, it's the most expansive. It's the biggest risk, and it pulls it off. Whatever. But the first one is like a perfectly tuned like
Except Italy.
machine, and even Italy on paper is good.
I like
I think Italy's a flawed execution. Like in theory, it's like I bet you reading the script, I probably would have been like, "This is about to
The
be the best
idea of
part
it's
of the
cool.
movie," right?
Yeah.
So it's just like, but every line of dialogue is memorable. Every character pops. It's like it has an even better pacing than the second one. Like
There's a reason it was huge.
right. And so I don't want to. It's like a close between the first and second. I think for just like best script, I suppose. personally.
I don't think that 3 is like the best. I won't try to die on that hill. But
it's great. It is a great script.
I really like the choices that they make.
Yeah.
In 3, like it seemed like I don't know, like if
all
you
the
told
ideas were there.
yeah, if you told me that this was gonna be like how the Godfather series wrapped up, I'd be like, oh shit, I didn't think you guys would go there. Like nice. I didn't think you guys would show such like a weak and feeble version of this character, and I understand why that probably upset people. They're like, what the fuck? This guy literally killed his brother, and now he's gonna cry to a priest. But it's like, yeah, because you always do in the end,
right? I mean, we're a part of a generation of people that like to take things to like the reality, where I think people were just like, cool movie mobsters, bro. Let's watch them pop some people. And then when 3 comes at the time it does, it's like, this isn't Goodfellas.
Well, one thing we've talked about throughout these Godfather podcasts has been the notion that the Godfather films, at least in the culture of American cinematic history, are generally regarded as mob movies, and they're talked about in that light, and they're always reflected on as being about the mob, and most general people think about the mafia when they think about the Godfather.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that we seem to talk about the most here at the Chronic Canon, we being Jesse.
I'm Frank.
I'm Brandon.
They hold hands.
They hold hands.
And they hold hands. Is family.
Yeah, and I think 3 actually is what crystallizes it as like, this is what it was always about. So because it removes the mob, truly.
Yeah.
Like the mob is an afterthought in 3.
Yeah. And he's trying to constantly get away from it.
Right.
Just like chasing up, they pulled me back in.
And so it just like, it's nice how that echoes backwards to make you stop and be like, for sure, like we've been acknowledging it along the way, but it's like, this is what it is. It's like,
and it's in the canon.
And it's all in the canon.
Baby.
Okay.
K
does. I don't know if I feel like we talked about it, but we have definitely talked about in each episode how we didn't like Kay. In the first one, she's basically useless. Not her fault, but definitely like
but it makes
the
sense that
fault.
she's useless in both movies.
But also it's like you left for fucking like multiple years, came back, admitted to being gone for a year, and now we're just gonna be getting married. Sure. Cool, whatever.
It's
and in
just
2,
rushed.
she's just like I guess I'm gonna play the role of the wife until the end where she breaks out of it.
Right.
Which is like cool.
2 makes sense though, because he's so focused on the bullshit, he's ignoring the family. 1, it's like, I think if Kay was more integral, it would propel the Godfather even further. She feels like a wasted opportunity.
Yes.
Because they ditch her. She's the audience surrogate to get us into the world, because she's asking all the questions. And then once we have the answers, it's like, you don't really need her anymore. And it's like, wait, no. It would be great to keep that perspective through the whole thing.
We need it.
Oh, well.
To
I guess we didn't need it because
when
it's
she
great.
looks down through the door.
But
because that moment, that's what's fascinating about The Godfather. All 3 of them. It's like every moment like always works. And it's like, right, this is like, always in theory, in idea is perfect, weirdly. Like the whole series, it's like there really isn't like a bad idea. It's just like sometimes it's not enough to support it, or like the execution of the individual piece is like flawed.
Yeah.
Even in 2, there are
cousin
moments.
fucking is a pretty bad idea.
It's a great.
I think it works in
idea.
the context of the narrative.
Great fucking idea.
Sorry.
Yeah, right.
It's bold.
We're defending your favorite of the series here.
I know.
So, all right.
All right.
Anybody got anything else to say about the Godfather series?
Happy
about Al Neri
that they all rule.
No, Kay in 3. I love her. She does great. They finally like really figured out like her role and how to cement her there, because she's constantly making Michael come to face with like his sins. And one scene that I love in particular, which is super nice in Italy, is when they're inside of his old room, and he was like, I used to sit here and stare at this window and think of you. And then she immediately cracks a smile and goes like, yeah. And then you got married. And he's like, still thought about you though. Like she's there to like recognize like, right, like I know how great you can be, but like you've fallen from grace, and I'm not gonna let you forget that just because you're trying to be better. I appreciate that perspective.
She's finally,
because that's my perspective. Just like, hey man, wait a minute, fuck you. Like don't. Like, I'm glad that you're trying to settle down and be better and make like a good footprint for your kids, but like, What about literally all the shit that you did?
She's finally removed from it, so she can be her own person.
Yes.
She doesn't have to be Michael's afterthought. She's just Kay. Okay, one other thing. I don't think we talked about this. Al Pacino and Keaton dated. They had an on and off relationship, and then it ended for sure after the third Godfather. So to me, that's probably like anytime we ran, Diane, come here, baby.
Hello, Diane.
Oh,
But she said he was the most interesting man to her and has the most beautiful face ever. So
Dunkachino.
right.
That probably ended it for her. She was like, oh, okay.
She's like, dunk. No good. So that's it.
It should be Dunk Pacino, she
Dunk
said.
our way out of here.
Sam is onto something.
He might be, we probably won't hear from him again. He said too much.
Where'd the A come from?
All right, ladies and gentlemen,
Back into the
listeners
left.
back home, start preparing for them Safdie brothers, because they coming. Yabba dabba doo.
I'm
Hoo-ah, tits hoo-ah. I'm Brandon.
I'm Jesse.
And they hold hands.
They hold
they do all
and
day.
bye-bye.
Bye. We're the future. Stupid motherfucker.
It just doesn't, you don't know this yet, but get Bennett.
Woo-ha, get Bennett. It's not what I wanted.
Good boy.